How long could you survive on Mars without a spacesuit? The short answer is not long. The slightly longer answer is just long enough to regret all your life choices that led you here, standing on the surface of the red planet in nothing but your Earth clothes. So let's unpack what would happen moment by moment, because your doom deserves a detailed schedule. First, let's set the scene. Mars is beautiful. Red deserts stretch into the distance, giant mountains taller than Everest, canyons that make the Grand Canyon look like a crack in the sidewalk. The sky is a pale butterscotch color, dust swirls in the distance, and it is very, very quiet. The perfect vacation spot if you ignore the minor problem that Mars is trying to kill you at every possible level. The atmosphere of Mars is less than 1% of Earth's pressure. Imagine standing at the top of Mount Everest without oxygen. And then imagine that every climber on Everest looked at you and said, "Wow, that guy's in trouble." That's Mars. When you step out without a suit, the first thing you'll notice is nothing. Actually, for about 10 seconds, you'd be fine. Not comfortable, but alive. You could even hold your breath, but that would be a mistake. Holding your breath means the little air left in your lungs will expand as the pressure outside drops, which can rupture delicate lung tissue. So the best survival advice if you ever find yourself suddenly ejected onto Mars is exhale. Yes, the correct procedure is to step out onto an alien world and immediately sigh dramatically. Within those first 10 seconds, your saliva will start boiling. Not because it's hot, but because boiling is just what happens when liquids are exposed to such low pressure. Your skin keeps your blood from boiling, so congratulations, you won't pop like a balloon. But your eyes and tongue will feel like they're simmering in a science experiment gone wrong. By the 15-second mark, oxygen in your blood will have dropped to dangerously low levels. You'll lose vision first, then consciousness. It's a bit like fainting, except instead of people fanning you and saying, "Are you okay?" there is just Mars whispering, "No, you are not." Now you're unconscious, but your body still has a tiny bit of oxygen left in the blood. Maybe another 30 to 60 seconds before your brain cells begin to die. Technically, if someone dragged you back into a pressurized habitat within about 2 minutes, you could survive. NASA has tested this with animals. Don't worry, no astronauts were sacrificed. And the results show that quick decompression is survivable if reversed fast enough. So yes, you could be the unlucky idiot who stumbles outside without a suit, collapses, and is pulled back in by your panicked crewmates, only to wake up later with everyone glaring at you. But what if nobody saves you? What if it's just you, Mars, and a lot of regret? Well, within minutes, hypoxia shuts down the brain. Your organs follow soon after. The cold is another problem. Mars has an average surface temperature of minus 60 degrees Celsius. Not instantly lethal, you don't freeze like an ice cube in seconds, but give it an hour and you'd be well on your way to becoming the galaxy's least refreshing popsicle. Then there's radiation. Mars doesn't have a thick atmosphere or a magnetic field, so it's constantly bathed in cosmic rays and solar particles. In the short term, that's the least of your worries. In the long term, well, let's just say skin cancer wouldn't be your first complaint. And don't forget dust storms. They won't sandblast you to pieces. Hollywood exaggerates. But that fine Martian dust would coat your lungs and eyes if you somehow managed to gasp your way through the thin air. Luckily, you won't be conscious long enough for that to matter. So let's answer the original question. How long could you survive on Mars without a spacesuit? Conscious, maybe 15 seconds. Alive, maybe up to 2 minutes if you're really lucky. Dead, indefinitely. And that last part is the funny twist. Mars preserves things well. With no bacteria, little moisture, and plenty of cold, your body would mummify rather than decompose. A perfect souvenir for the next astronauts to trip over and say, "Who left this guy here?" But here's the real kicker. Suppose you didn't just die alone. Suppose you were part of the first big Mars colony and people back on Earth started writing legends about you. The first person to go outside without a suit. Future Martian school children would study your story in textbooks. They'd whisper, "That's the guy who thought he could tough it out. The guy who believed in breathing Mars air, the guy who discovered in about 15 seconds that Mars doesn't negotiate." You'd be a cautionary tale, a cosmic punchline, and maybe, just maybe, the inspiration for safety posters hung in every Martian airlock. So next time you imagine stepping out onto the red sands of another world, remember, the view is stunning, but the ticket price is your life. Bring a spacesuit.